You know that feeling when you're looking at a complex problem and you just know that one single approach isn't going to cut it? That you're missing part of the picture? Well, today, we are going to demystify a research tool that's built for exactly that: mixed methods research. It's all about getting a truly complete picture of our messy, complicated world, and we're going to break down exactly how it works.
When we try to understand something, we so often create these two different camps, right? Over here, you've got the hard numbers, all the stats, the charts, the quantitative data. And over there, you've got the human element, the rich stories, the in-depth interviews. But honestly, why should we ever have to choose between them? The real magic, the deepest insights, happen when you bring them both together.
And that, right there, is the heart of mixed methods research. It's the strategic combination of both the numbers and the stories, all inside a single study. The goal isn't just to have two different piles of data at the end. It's about using them together to unlock a much deeper, more nuanced understanding than either one could ever give you on its own. Okay, so let's say you're in. You want to mix your methods. Awesome. Well, the very first big decision you have to make is all about timing. Seriously, think of it like a fork in the road on your research journey. How and when you collect your data is going to shape your entire study. And this big decision really just boils down to two paths. First, you've got the sequential path. This is a step-by-step process where one thing happens and then the next thing happens. Or you can take the concurrent path. This is the all-at-once approach, where you're doing everything pretty much at the same time. Let's dig into what each of those actually looks like. So let's start by walking down that first path, the sequential designs. Just remember, the key word here is sequence. We're doing things in a very specific order, one after the other. And the core idea is actually super simple. It's all about phases. You do phase one with one type of method, you get your results, and then, and this is the important part, you use those results to build phase two with the other method. It's like you're using building blocks, one on top of the other. So, the first type you'll see is called the sequential explanatory design. Let's say you start big. You run a huge survey and get a ton of numerical data. You find some really interesting patterns in the numbers, but you have no idea why they're happening. That's when you move to phase two. You use qualitative tools, like interviews, to dig in and help explain those numbers. You're using stories to make sense of the stats. Now, what if you flip that script completely? That's the sequential exploratory design. You'd use this when you really don't know much about a topic yet. So you start small with qualitative methods, interviews, focus groups, to just explore the issue and see what key themes pop up. Then, once you've got those themes, you build a quantitative tool, like a survey, to see if what you found in your small group holds true for a much larger population. So here, the stories help you figure out which numbers you should even be looking for. But wait, there's a third sequential design here, and this one's a little different. It's not about the structure. It's about the purpose. You can think of it like this special plus factor, an extra layer you can add on top of the other two, and it's driven by a really powerful perspective. This is the sequential transformative design. You take one of the structures we just talked about, either explanatory or exploratory, and you add a clear, powerful purpose. You're doing this research to improve the lives of marginalized groups. The research isn't just about gaining knowledge. It's driven from the very beginning by a mission for social justice. Okay, let's back up to that fork in the road and check out the other path, the concurrent designs. Remember, this is our all-at-once approach. As the name suggests, everything is happening pretty much in parallel. And really, the definition says it all. With concurrent designs, you're out there collecting both your numbers and your stories at the same time. There's no phase one and phase two when it comes to gathering your data. It's all happening in one big push. The most common type here is probably the concurrent triangulation design. Think of it like you're running two separate investigations at the same time. You collect your survey data and you collect your interview data simultaneously. You even analyze them separately. Then, at the very end, you bring both sets of findings together and see how they line up. Do the numbers and the stories tell the same tale, or do they contradict each other? The whole point is to see if your findings converge from different angles. But what if your two methods aren't really equal partners? Well, that brings us to the nested design. Here, there's a clear hierarchy. Unlike in triangulation, one method is the undisputed star of the show. It's the dominant, main framework for your entire study. And the other, less prioritized method, it gets nested or embedded right inside that main approach. So, for example, maybe you're running a big quantitative experiment, but you embed a small number of qualitative interviews within it to answer a specific secondary question that the main experiment just can't touch. And you guessed it, that same layer of purpose we talked about can be applied here too. A concurrent transformative design takes a standard concurrent approach, like triangulation or nested, and injects it with that same mission. The whole research project is guided, from start to finish, by an agenda to empower or advocate for a marginalized community. Phew. Okay, that was a lot, right? So after all that, how in the world do you keep it all straight? Let's just zoom out for a second, look at the big picture, and create a simple guide for choosing your own research path. So let's bring it all home with this little cheat sheet. To choose your path, just ask yourself what you're really trying to do. Do you need stories to explain the numbers you already have? Go with sequential explanatory. Do you need stories to help you discover what you should even be measuring? That's sequential exploratory. Do you want to compare two equal streams of data you collected at the same time? That's a classic concurrent triangulation. Or do you have a smaller question you need to tuck inside a bigger study? You're looking for a nested design. And don't forget, you can always layer that transformative social justice purpose on top of any of these. See, at the end of the day, mixed methods research isn't just some boring academic exercise. It is a seriously powerful way to tell a richer, more complete, more human story about basically any topic. It helps us see not just what's happening, but why it's happening and what it actually feels like for the people living it. So the real question I'll leave you with is this: what complex story could you tell by mixing numbers and narratives?